Hello, hello, my beautiful people. I have today my wrap up for January 2023, the books that I read, and it was a great reading month. So, thank you for stopping by. My name is Kristen, and I will say that out of the 14 books that I ended up reading in January, like 5 of them at least were 5-star. I did do a review on 4 of the books that I read. I will leave a link for that below. That includes one of the 5 stars. And another one, I want to do a separate video because I have so much to say about it. So I will just briefly share Labyrinth of the Spirits, Ruiz, Zafon. This is actually a series of the Forgotten Library books, which if you are a reader and you like books, then there's already a possibility that you will like this. Now, I'm just going to briefly say that I'm going to share a whole lot, but for right now, if you like the concept of a mysterious library where books choose you and there is a mystery and an adventure, you will at least like the first one in the series. And then if you like some mystery, intrigue, and don't mind some violence and lots of action, kind of along the lines of if you like the Count of Monte Cristo and the escape from prison and revenge theme plots and things like the girl with the dragon tattoo and some of those things that actually have a little bit of violence and, kind of mafia style criminal activity going on, then this whole series is going to really be up your alley. And stay tuned for a further review. Like and subscribe so you don't miss it. But it is outstanding, and I am not normally that girl. I do not normally gravitate to those kind of stories, and this was phenomenal. Also, keeping in along the lines of phenomenal reading, Brandon Sanderson's Elantris. I am buddy reading this with the lovely Gemma at Gemma Books, but I couldn't help myself and resist and kind of finish it because it is outstanding. This is the very first novel that he published, and it does not act like a debut novel. It is so detailed, so the characters well developed, just the setting, just beautiful. The city of Elantris has a magical, mystical property where the city itself, as well as its inhabitants, glow with light, and all of a sudden a disease or mystery happens that take away that power. The city is literally turning to slime and rot, and the people are they can die, but they're kind of already dead. They experience pain, but never, hunger doesn't kill them, disease doesn't kill them, even being slashed, unless their head's completely cut off or something, you just have a gaping wound that normally would kill you, but instead you're suffering. So it's this extremes kind of right or wrong kind of symbolically set up. Then you have 3 main storylines that you are following along with different angles and motivations, including a prophet religious aspect, a political power narrative, rights to the throne kind of thing, and then kind of a romantic love interest but strong woman character. So fantastic. It is a standalone book, although there is rumor that there will be a sequel coming someday. But this is an easy standalone. I now highly recommend this as a check out Brandon Sanderson. His first novel works. Keeping with 5 stars was my classic for the month. So that was John Steinbeck's Of Mice and Men. This is a short little classic, and it is easy to read in length, but not so easy to read in content. It is a poignant, beautiful story of a friendship between 2 gentlemen. One of them is big and strong, but has mental challenges in his life. The other one's kind of trying to look out for him, but there are just issues. They are basically migrant workers trying to survive, trying to deal with the times, and it's just a really thought-provoking novel trying to deal with kind of quality of life and rights and all those kind of issues. And it's just it's a quick, very intense, interesting read. I like it. I'm going to continue on with John Steinbeck. I will be doing a buddy read with The Pearl, which was the only one that I had read by him before. and found very boring in high school, but now as an adult choosing to read it and buddy reading with the lovely Jolene at Bookworm Adventure Girl. We'll see how that one does. So my nonfiction was also 5 stars. Woo! A Walk in the Wood, Bill Bryson. Many people had recommended this and you did not steer me wrong. I absolutely loved it. It is basically a memoir of hiking the Appalachian Trail. I have actually been on the Appalachian Trail, certainly not for miles and miles. And I will note right off the bat that if you have, you know, any desire, there are multiple day trips that you can just go hike, do some of this adventuring and leave. But you're going to have some crowds. You're going to have some, you know, that's where everybody is. So the appeal of going on this 1,400 mile hike where most of it is very remote, nobody's there, but nobody's there. There's wild animals, there's bad weather, there's crazy people that choose to do this and are up to no good. So it is an adventure story. It is also, he goes along and has an eccentric friend who decides to go with him. So the story of that friendship, story of wilderness, just kind of fun humor, and then also some thought-provoking questions about things that they encounter along the way. So beautiful, beautiful, fun kind of read. And it kind of inspires you to get out there in nature. Then those were my 5-star reads. Then I have one that I was surprised that I did like better than I even thought I was going to. And that was The Golden Hour by Beatriz Williams. So this, I thought, was a story of a young woman who goes to be kind of a reporter, writer over in the Caribbean, and gets tied into the Duke and Duchess and the royalty that has been appointed from England to watch over the Caribbean interests. And it is, but it's so much more than that. It is set during the wartime, so her husband is somewhat involved in kind of the political happenings and gets captured. And so she goes to try to petition, at the beginning of the book, goes back to England to try to petition for some power to try to save her husband. That goes all awry. There is all kinds of, it reads very much like a modern classic, right? You have all these society kind of formalities and rules and, you know, trying to get to the right people, the right places, the right things to do motivations. All these other things are happening. And it was a lot of fun. So I just, you know, really enjoyed that even more than I was thinking I was going to. Then another one that I picked up was Beth Harbison's Everytime You Go Away. This is a romance story, but in the sense that it's kind of closure, because it has been a great marriage, but he has passed away in their beach house. And she goes to kind of close it up and get ready to sell. And his ghost literally is there waiting for her to talk to her and kind of bring her closure. And she's the only one who can see him. In the meantime, friends, families, new neighbors, all that kind of trope comes into the story to kind of prompt her, like, what is worth living? Where is life going? And then she's kind of processing that through. It was, I would say it's lighthearted, but not funny, but poignant, but kind of predictable in the sense of it is what you would expect it to be. But if you're in the mood for that, and that kind of, you know, when you purposely choose to watch the movie Ghost because that's exactly what you're in the mood for, this book would be along that feels, those feels. So there it is, liked it, solid 3-star. And then I did actually get to pick up my spin that I did back in October, the Nora Roberts Donovan Legacy. This is actually 3 books. So it's 3 romance books by Nora Roberts, and they're witches. So, and one of them's a male witch. So I think they still call him a witch though, not a wizard. But regardless, it's just fun. They're just silly. They are, you know, rather predictable, but the characters are in multiple stories. There's even a family chart at the beginning that kind of breaks it down for you and explains it all. And I've now read all of them. So all of these characters and stories. I know the family really well. It's set over in Ireland. I love it. It's fun. It's sweet. It's silly. I can laugh. And if you're in the mood for that, that's the way to go. Then I did also and finally read my book for the Traveling Book Club. So I read The Tea Girl of Hummingbird Lane by Lisa C. And I have already sent that forward. So here is my past self talking about that book. Here is The Girl of Hummingbird Lane by Lisa C. This is one of my Traveling Book Club books. So this was the book I read this month. We each have different colored pens and we leave each other notes as we go along. So I just kind of wanted to show this. I need to get this in the mail, so this will be filmed separate from the rest of my reviews. But this is a story that is a little, about 3 generations anyway, of a tribe in China that are known for being remote, very rural, and they produce tea. They have the trees where they harvest the tree leaves and make it into tea. You get to learn some about that process, and you do learn a lot about these kind of native primitive beliefs. They're very much into like a medicine man kind of philosophy. They have different value systems as far as how they treat the beginning and end of life, what are their rituals, all those kind of things. And sometimes those come up against the fact that all of a sudden their particular tea becomes very, very popular and widely sought after by the rest of the world, particularly in England, wanting to make this tea. So you have all these different kind of culture pushes. You have a lot of trying to reconcile family, reconcile these different philosophies and cultures of life, centered around some learning about tea. It is pretty slow moving, but the characters are very much endearing. I thought that it was well written and a good book. So there is my review of this one. If any of that sounded interesting, you should check it out. So that is part of my Traveling Book Club, where we write notes to each other to do that. So I got my book back, The Lions of Fifth Avenue by Fiona Davis. This is the book that I sent around. And then they just would write in the notes and margins and write little messages to me, so then I can skim back through the book and look at what they thought and compare what I thought and all those kind of fun things. If you don't know, this is basically set around the New York Library. It has a dual timeline with 2 different women who are somewhat related, but have different stories going on, but they both have to do with the library and the secrets of the library, which originally even housed an apartment complex. And then in the future, the granddaughter is unpacking the mysteries of that and trying to set things right and make a name for herself. So great book. Really like that one. So there you have it. There are my books that I read in the month of January. Hope that some of those inspired you to maybe read something. If you're inspired to read a particular one of these, let me know. If you've read any of them, also feel free to have a chat with me in the comment section below about them. And if there's another one that you think that I would like based off of some of these others, I'm always very excited and try to put those on my wish list and get them on my radar. So lots of opportunities to speak back. I'll meet you in the comments. Thank you for stopping by. Y'all have a blessed day. Happy reading. Take care.